Hi friends, thank you for taking time out of your week to spend a little with me. I appreciate you. This week we're going to discuss a case that happened pretty recently, and there are still some unanswered questions surrounding it. But due to the important message it serves, I felt it appropriate to discuss. So we're going to talk about Austin Lee Edwards, who has become known as the Catfish Cop. Unlike my usual videos, I'm unable to discuss information pertaining to the victim since not a lot is known about her due to her age. And quite frankly, she deserves that kind of privacy during this difficult time to process and heal what has happened. Let today's video be a lesson to parents, grandparents, teens, and even children that monsters are real and alive on the internet. So please join me as we remember Brooke, Mark, and Sherry Winnick. On November 25, 2022, police received a call from a concerned neighbor. They noted an incident happened on their block involving a man trying to force his neighbor's minor daughter into a red Kia Soul. They asked police to come by and perform a welfare check to make sure everything was fine, since there seemed to be a struggle between the pair. Police arrived to the area a little before 11 a.m., where the car, the girl, and the man were nowhere to be found. While talking to the neighbor for some details pertaining to the encounter, another call came in. Just houses down from where they stood, a fire broke out. Emergency services were sent to the home. Upon entering the house, a shocking scene unfolded. In the entryway, 3 victims were discovered with their hands tied behind their backs and duct tape on their mouths. The 3 victims were later identified as 38-year-old Brooke Winnick, a single mother of 2 described as big-hearted and a great mom, and her parents, 69-year-old Mark Winnick, a caring and loving family man who coached at Arlington High School, and 65-year-old Sherry Winnick, the matriarch who loved caring for and spending time with her family. Brooke's 2 teenage daughters were not found at the home, but it was quickly linked that one of the girls were involved in the incident that led to the discovery of the Winnicks. While talking with the neighbor closest to the home, police discovered a red Kia Soul matching the description from the welfare check was spotted in the driveway next to the Winnick's home. And allegedly, this was not the first time it was seen. One of their neighbors believed they spotted the red car weeks prior to the murders. Police believed their suspect was watching his target from a distance, learning routines to strike. Luckily, a nearby security camera was able to capture the Kia's license plate, which led police to a name: Austin Lee Edwards. At the time, Austin was a 28-year-old male from North Chesterfield, Virginia, who was employed by the Washington County Sheriff's Department as a deputy. According to official records, Austin had a lengthy history of mental health issues. One of these accounts occurred on February 7, 2016. Austin and his father were in their apartment, watching the Super Bowl. Per his father, they each had 2 beers and when the game was over, retired for the evening. However, later that night, his father woke up to the sound of Austin making noise in the bathroom. He tried to open the door, but Austin was locked inside and acting strangely, so he used a screwdriver to gain entry. He found Austin with a cut on his hand. His father knew Austin was responsible for his own injury since a knife and hatchet were found nearby. Due to the severity of his injury and Austin's current mental state, his father called an ambulance while Austin retreated to his bedroom where he sat on his bed, continuously opening and closing a pocket knife. Once Austin heard emergency responders were on the way, he tried to leave the apartment, but his father subdued him in the kitchen. When EMTs arrived, they were greeted with an agitated Austin being held down by his father. During the entire encounter, Austin resisted any medical treatment and fought against his father's grasp. He was asked multiple times to show his injuries. Austin responded with screams and threats. So, in response, the police were called to the scene. They arrived at 3:30 a.m. and noted a large presence of blood inside of the apartment, and Austin continuing to fight against his father and EMTs. He screamed at those trying to help him, still hurling threats stating he would hurt his father and himself once he was free. It was at this point police pulled out a taser. His father begged authorities not to use it on him and instead he could keep Austin subdued. And he did. After finally getting Austin down, a police officer and EMT were able to handcuff him to a stretcher where he was transported to Johnston Memorial Hospital. His father confirmed the 2 had beers, but Austin was dealing with girlfriend problems. The injuries on his left hand were considered serious. Austin's father had intense bite marks on both of his arms but declined treatment. Due to Austin's self-inflicted injuries and statements made during the altercation, a judge ordered a temporary detention order due to the substantial likelihood that as a result of a mental illness, Austin will and in the near future cause harm. Austin was sent to a psychiatric facility in Bristol, Virginia for additional evaluation. He was only held for 2 days before being released, allegedly proving to not be a threat. Part of his detention order, Austin was barred from purchasing, possessing, or transporting firearms. Per the court records in all jurisdictions Austin lived in, no official documents were filed to have his gun rights restored. In 2021, Austin decided to turn his attention to law enforcement, applying for the Virginia State Police. According to the Virginia State Police, Austin underwent a background check and a written psychological exam which he passed. He also disclosed that he voluntarily checked himself into a mental health facility in 2016. This should have prompted further investigation, but it did not. On January 21, 2022, Austin graduated from the academy, but resigned less than a year later, after applying to be a deputy with the Washington County Sheriff's Department, listing his father as a reference. He was hired on in November 16, 2022, and started orientation to join the patrol division. During this time, Austin purchased a home in Saltville, Virginia, and per his neighbors, almost immediately started blacking out the windows with car tint. He was often seen around town wearing a trench coat despite weather conditions, which many felt was odd behavior. Austin told many friends about a girlfriend he had in California, one he planned to visit. According to reports, Austin posed as a 17-year-old teenage boy to lure in his 15-year-old victim. At the time, it's unclear where the two met or how long they corresponded prior to Austin carrying out his plan. But the pair talked long enough for Austin to gain her trust, exchanging not just phone numbers but personal information as well. During one of these discussions, he asked the minor for explicit photos of herself, but she declined, even cutting off communication with him. It seemed her cutting off contact only pushed Austin to travel across the country to be with the girl. He drove over 2,000 miles from Virginia to Riverside, California. Once he arrived, Austin murdered her family and forced her into his car before driving off, and if it wasn't for the neighbor, he might have gotten away. When his license plate number was ran, a report filed months ago by Austin was found. The report had his phone number on it, which allowed police to track him by cell towers, where they discovered he was located in Southern California. A SWAT team was dispatched along with a helicopter where Austin's car was located around 1:15 p.m. in the town of Kelso. Authorities attempted to intercept Austin's vehicle when a gun battle ensued. As a result, Austin crashed his car. He and the girl exited the vehicle, but thankfully the girl managed to escape safely to police custody. Austin and police exchanged shots until his firing ceased. Austin was found unresponsive and pronounced dead at the scene. Initially, it was believed Austin died by police gunfire, but during his autopsy on November 29th, it was revealed he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound from his service weapon. The girl was found physically uninjured and was taken into protective custody by the Riverside County Department of Social Services, where she received trauma counseling. Police do not believe she was at all involved in the murder of her family. A warrant was issued for Austin's home, but it was revealed the day before the official search was scheduled, 2 deputies from Washington County removed items from his home. It's unclear what exactly was removed. During the search, items were seized in relation to the case. It was also discovered Austin had an apartment which he was in the process of being evicted from. But this apartment was not searched as part of the investigation, citing it was not relevant, despite reporters claiming many of his personal items could still be seen from the windows inside of the apartment. Many felt the apartment should have been included in the search in case it led to potentially more victims impacted by Austin, or maybe even more weapons, but no such search was ever executed. After the news of Austin's crimes and death, the departments which hired him to serve and protect his communities issued statements claiming Austin was only hired due to human error and an incomplete database which led to his application being approved. In both instances, he passed all required exams. Previous employers were contacted where no disclosures were made concerning trouble, reprimands, or internal investigations against him. It's been expressed that predators aren't usually a one-and-done deal, and Austin was no exception. After the news of his death, a 21-year-old woman came forward. She explained while browsing her social media, she saw his face and immediately became sick to her stomach, since just years before he terrorized her as well. When the woman was a 13-year-old girl, she met Austin, who was then a 20-year-old man. The two met on Omegle, a video chat website that pairs strangers, in October of 2014. She explained at first they bonded over funny pictures, but it quickly turned sour. They moved their conversations to private platforms such as Skype, texting, and phone calls, where he pressured her into sending inappropriate photos of herself, even after telling him her age. The woman provided nearly 4,000 messages to prove her claims and offer a deeper insight into who Austin really was. At the time, she was only a child, so when Austin pushed, she relented, eventually sharing pictures with him, but he demanded more. The two talked several times a week, with Austin often waiting to video call her once he knew she was home from school. Austin and the girl spoke on and off for 2 years, with her often pulling away due to Austin's behavior. Not only did he demand continuous pictures, but he often used homophobic and racial slurs. She claimed his behavior changed drastically from day to day, where one minute he could be joking, then later expressing sadness. He often stated he disliked his father and complained of hunger, stating he had no money for food. Austin steered the conversations to his depression and stated the girl was the only person he had in his life who understood him, and if she ever tried to leave him, he would hurt himself. During video chats, he showed off a collection of guns and knives and discussed his violent thoughts. In their messages, he called her his girlfriend and said she was the most important thing to him. It wasn't long before he told her he wanted to see her in person, and this became too much for her. In 2016, the girl told him she wanted to break up, but he pressured her to stay, telling her no obstacle was going to stop them and her age didn't matter. The girl confirmed Austin's 2016 psychiatric hold, explaining Austin had a breakdown the night he received his injury, telling the girl how awful his life was. When he was released, he told her he only got out because he told therapists what they wanted to hear. It was after this event she realized just how dangerous Austin was. After February 2016, she slowed communication with him, and by September he was blocked. Austin told her he had a new girlfriend, but he continued to send her messages from different accounts. According to the woman, he did this for years, but she didn't reply. She was scared of him, and thankfully he did not know her real name. By April 2020, she was 18, and Austin reached out once more, and for the last time she replied, asking him to never contact her again. The woman admitted that at the time she hid her conversations with him from her family. When discussing Austin, she stated he was good at manipulating people, and those in his life probably had no idea what he was up to. She was baffled he could be hired by 2 agencies, but not by the fact that he was capable of killing. She described him as scary and violent, especially when he didn't get his way. She chose to share her story to inform the public of Austin's history of soliciting children online, and that there could be more victims beyond her and the 15-year-old girl. The girl's aunt, Michelle Blandon, spoke out about the heinous crime on November 30th, 2022 during a conference. She stated, quote, "Catfishing led to the deaths of the 3 most important people in my life. My dad, my mom, and my sister. When you are talking to your children about the dangers of their online actions, please use us as a reference. Tell our story to help your parenting, not out of fear, but out of example of something that did happen." End quote. A GoFundMe was arranged for an ongoing support of the daughters impacted by this crime. I'm going to link it in the description of this video. I'm not sure how it works since the goal has been met, but in case further assistance is needed, it will be there. Hi friends, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this one's a little different than what I usually do. I'm not big on covering current crimes or ongoing situations since updates are always happening, but this one was important. It's a good message for parents with children online or parents with children coming of age to be online. Coaching them about online safety is important. Tell them over and over again. Protect them because predators are out there. With that off my chest, leave your thoughts below, share your personal tips to help other parents. If you found this to be informative, please give the video a thumbs up to let YouTube know you want more from me. And lastly, if you're not subscribed yet, you should because we would love to have you under the ash tree. Thank you so much to our community here. I appreciate your love and support each week. I wouldn't be here without you all. I hope you have an amazing week ahead of you, but for now, stay safe out there. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.